Hello. Thanksgiving weekend 2019. And I thought I'd give you guys a little piece of information knowledge because, after all, what way to thank the world and creation than giving knowledge? See, knowledge is the most nourishing thing, right? Because with knowledge, you can't go wrong, you know? If you give somebody, let's say, money without knowledge, they can do so many things, right? They can break the law. They can harm somebody. They can harm themselves. So that's not always the best gift. So knowledge is a better gift even than money, actually. But who has real knowledge? Very rare. That's why I wrote this book. Because I saw there was no real knowledge. There was an idea of real knowledge. Relativity is an idea of knowledge. It's like it's a brainstorm. We have a word, relative. Everything is seemingly relative. There's some relativity in everything. And that's kind of seeing things connected, the oneness of things. But that's not really an explanation of the universe. That's why Einstein said that he didn't really know what was fully going on with everything. So I wrote this book because I wrote papers on philosophy and all that stuff, So I understood that it wasn't finished, and then I proposed it in 2006, the Geo-Negative axis, but I just called it a negative. And I had some explanation, but it wasn't full. And I think they used it, but they didn't really explain it, until I saw like in some program one time they were talking about the negative, and so they had some idea of the negative, but it wasn't explained to 2016 that I explained it. So I'm gonna read from it, and we'll do it at random. Troposphere extension brink. The troposphere, or middle or threshold point, is the most definitive part of the Geo-Negative axis, equation or intentional substantive of existence. It separates all things accordingly, and it defines the measurement, the middle point. In order to properly measure something, you must use the center of its function and existentiality to a Kate response and equation. The moment a thing comes to its fruition or intended extension from its set discourse or frame of existence, it has now, with the aid and thwart of the Geo-Negative axis, performed a function and intricacy actuate. Maybe this is why some people don't understand this book. A little bit hard. The thing is, if I don't use certain terms, I can't really even explain this. Because it's not something that's been around forever. And when something's around forever, people find ways to explain things in many ways. Because even the persons with the least English will have realizations that explained it. So eventually things start to just become wind, they get a wind of it. Okay, but here we go. We understand the troposphere is a much thinner air realm, and it's more soluble with a matter for us to determine as light's existence in our realm changes when it reaches down on Earth. The sun is the life-giving energy, and the troposphere is where it is most energetic, but right away it is less for us, being it isn't hard or watery like ourselves. This also defines our separation of existence with the light that creates us, and how we are different from it as being a result of it and not a continuation of it. So that goes to show the differentiation of matter. And it goes down to the modes of existence. What is pure, what is adulterated, what is full of ignorance, what is full of passion, right? So when there's too much passion, too much ignorance, then it becomes diluted, There's good passion and there's good ignorance, right? So somebody has passion, right? They say, we have to get to the bottom of this because there's lives at stake, right? There's something good about it. Then passion becomes good. Or if somebody says, I don't really want to know about those things because if I do, then I'm going to get involved and I'm going to start arguing. So that's also a stance of ignorance in the mode of goodness. So actually we could dovetail these things, it looks like, right? As we can see, we can dovetail, but nonetheless, there's still more information here we have to talk about. Now if you want to get, right, if you want to understand things, this is the middle point. Now the middle point is something that I was planning on making a understanding of it with mathematics because it's seemingly hard to understand. But I already drew understanding and conclusion of it. And basically, a middle point is like if you're driving and then by the time you get somewhere, there's always the middle of the journey, right? So, but there's also a thing that occurs. So theoretically, you change, right? So that even if you're driving somewhere, it doesn't seem like there's so much going on, right? Oh, middle point, what's so big about that? But even when you're driving, existentially, your disposition changes. So you're driving somewhere. Let's say you're driving from here to Jersey, New York to Jersey, right? So between here and there's a middle point. At that point, you're closer to Jersey. You can't say you're closer to New York anymore. You understand? Or you can't say you're closer to where you were. Your start point. So at a certain point, you're going to be closer to your end point. That is an existential reality. So the middle point represents an existential reality of where things change and manifest. Okay? From certain matters and trends. So here we have the lesser. Now when I said we're not like the lesser, we're not continuing something of light, we're less of light. That means we are, what is that? If we're less of light, we are less, right? We are, I'm sorry, we're not less of light. Light is less than us because it doesn't have matter and friction. So we perceive it as lesser than us because we have these bodies, right? We have the mundane, right? The gross elements, they call. So the light, we're not continuing light. We're becoming something from light. So from that point to where it comes, there's also a middle point. Okay? And that is what really we need to understand if we want to understand anything about physics or about this world. But I haven't even got $1,000 yet. So good luck. So I can't explain so much about it because, as I said, it requires math, right? You have to create this with equations to actually find middle points, middle point math. And there's ways to do it. There's techniques. I've already conceptualized. I can do it. So the middle point in our life, if you want to understand something, how you can utilize that, you could say your middle point, let's say, may it always be going into goodness or something better. So it's your threshold. It's where you change, where you modify, right? That's your middle point. Now, if you say, I want to become, let's say, I want to become a runner today, right? I want to run. So from the point you initiate that thought till the actual time that you're out there running, to the actual time you successfully ran. Between all that, there was a middle point, a threshold. And you conquered that threshold, and then you went further, and you delineated. But that threshold, that middle point, is that will grant you, right? If you understand how you did that, right? And let's say you can keep doing that at every point, then you can make energy autonomous. That's why I said that. So you guys understand that. But if you can understand the middle point, then you can understand a lot of things. But to get the middle point of a thing, like to get a middle point, let's say of my body, good luck with that. You don't know where to begin. You don't know how to substantiate it even. You can go around and guess. You can have many, what is his middle point? Is it his navel? Is it his left nipple? You can have many, ideas and things, and you won't know what it is. You understand? Unless you substantiate it with science. So, I don't know. Maybe one day it'll happen. So we're going to Bhagavad Gita. We already ran into our next 10th minute. I try to make 10 minutes science, 10 minutes or under philosophy. So we're going to go to the Bhagavad Gita, the relishable Gita, Krishna. I think that's the same verse we picked last time. So we're going to go to another verse. Here it is. Punyo Gandha Pitidyam Cha Tejas Chasmi Vibhivashaha Jivanam Sarvam Bhuteshu Tapas Chasmi Tapas Vishu. I am the original fragrance of the fire. I am the heat and fire. I am the light of all that lives. I am the penance of all ascetics. Bijam mam sarvabhutanam vidiparta sanatanam buddhir buddhir matam asmi tejas tejasvinam aham. So, O Sanaprita, I know that I am the original seed of all existence, the intelligence of the intelligent, and the prowess of all powerful men. So ultimately, God has given us prowess, right? You have to understand that part. Tejas, heat. So the original fragrance of earth, the heat and fire, the life of all that lives, okay, and the penance of all ascetics. So how do things operate in this world? As I said, it's on a geo-negative axis. Things are operating that we don't always perceive. But you can see sometimes when people are going through such horrible times in their life and they turn to God, right away, what happens? Everything is... They have a path. They can see things now. They're saying, wow. Because God says, I am the intelligence in man. Buddhi. So I am the Buddhi, right? So, this is what we have to understand. Don't think God and, those people they're lying. They're just, they could have went to a psychiatrist and figured it out and took a medication. They didn't have to go to church and become a religious fanatic. Nonsense. Because it says right here, Buddhi matam asmi. Right? Krishna says, the intelligence of the intelligent. Okay? Buddhi matam. Buddhi matam means of the intelligent. Okay? Buddhi matam. I am the intelligent of those who are intelligent. So, Krishna, God is everything, right? Christ, Christo. He has many changings. His father was Krishna. Jesus always said, Krishna. That's why I started calling him that. That wasn't his name. But it means Krishna, the Father. So Christo is Father Krishna. Anyway, so really, if we understand that things are out of our realm, out of our control, and we surrender to God, He could work things, right? Because He's the intelligence of man. It doesn't mean that men are going to cooperate around you, but at least if they let God do things and they're fair with everyone, then we can allow God's grace, right? If people aren't allowing others, or they're stopping others, then they're not allowing God's grace. And that's when people get disgruntled, because they feel like they're being cheated. The document says, I have rights. You guys figured this out already. Many hundreds of years ago, your predecessors. So really, in this world, we're all under this, energy. And it's not like anybody with the law book is not under it. They too have to subscribe to these things. So yeah, as I was saying, many people, they go to Jesus, they go to different faiths, and then they say everything was just taken off and thrown away. Even within this Krishna yoga path, many people were wandering, they didn't have any clue. And then some pure gurus came, like from India, it's a very elderly, pure, and they came, and then all of a sudden they had like a Jesus revelation in their spiritual life, one family I remember, they just renounced everything, and any money they had, they went to like India and anywhere they could travel with the guru, which was kind of like wild then, but they ended up being situated, and they retired in the devotee community. So there's many instances of that, of like spirituality when it becomes, whoa, this is uplifting, and some of it becomes so uplifting like that, you want to join the congregation, you want to follow the minister or follow the guru, we say in India. So that's going on. We can't say it doesn't exist, because right there it says it gives us the proof. It says, God says, I am making these, even the scent of earth, all these scents, they're coming from me. They're all, we're processing them in different modes and different modalities, different, part this, part that. Like you study the gems, you find out they're just different parts of earth, iron, this, different aspects that just came together and were heated with a crystal, and then crunched together like that. So, but ultimately it's coming from God. He's the original scent givers. Do we attribute bad sense to him? No, because he's not. He's also above these energies. He's not entangled in the modes of ignorance, entangled in the modes of these worlds. Does he come to this world and he has to have some kind of, possibly, interaction with it, right? He probably smells bad things, he probably, I don't know if he... But anyway, so God, Krishna came, Bhagavad Gita, 5,000 years ago. That's what that book is. He's speaking about it. And then he's explaining to him. So this intelligence, if you want this intelligence, you have to see where it comes from. In this world, everything has a back end to it, right? Like I was explaining, the middle point. So within everything, things change with the middle point. And then life progresses from the middle point. It's a pretty interesting topic. And if you really want to know how it works, then you'll have to try to understand energy aside yourself. Because if you think you can calculate it, it won't. But what it can do is reveal itself to you. Because everything has intelligence. Like God says right here, Krishna says, I'm behind everything. I'm behind everything. That's what he's trying to say. So, if you allow yourself to get this knowledge, if you can even quiet your mind for an hour and say, I don't want to please this body for an hour. I want to just meditate. I want to reach my soul. I don't want to jump on that girl, that guy, or, go eat food and drink and constantly enjoy all day. I want to just sit here somewhere for an hour. Maybe someone will come to you. Because we have to have a middle point. If we don't try to get on something, it'll never come. We'll never understand the middle point. The middle point gives us the understanding of things. That's what also I said there. If you want to understand things, you understand the middle point. How did things become? So someone says, he came, he's a policeman. And you would say, he's a policeman? he used to be a criminal. That's crazy. And then you would say, well, he went through a transition, and then there was a middle point. There was a point where he said, I'm going towards this direction. That middle point became so influential, right? So if you understand that middle point of how he became, then you understand things. Then you understand why people will change, what can change them. That's how the middle point is so interesting and so fruitful with understanding. Because if we don't understand these things, then we're just bucking around with science. So if you ever hear middle point, you know where they got it from. I was the first one to write about it, and it's a traposphere. I have other videos about it. I probably said other things about it. But yeah, no, one day we'll probably have the formula for it. I'm still working out of here. So we'll see. Take care.